This week's Torah portion is a truly fascinating one with some really interesting stories. In particular, the story of Jacob wrestling. Who does he wrestle with? Well, that's open to interpretation, as we will see tomorrow morning in our Torah study. Does he wrestle with an angel? Does he wrestle with the angel of Esau, the sort of guardian angel of Esau? Does he wrestle with God? Does he wrestle with himself, with his own conscience? We'll explore that tomorrow morning. At the end of the conflict, Jacob asks his adversary who they are, and they say, "You cannot ask my name, but you will be renamed Yisrael," which means he has struggled with God and with human beings and has prevailed. Yisrael, Israel, that's the Jewish people. We struggle with God. There have been times in our history when people have sought to clarify exactly what it is that Jews believe. Maimonides, for example, created the 13 Principles of Faith and said if you follow what he believed, what he stated, then you are a Jew, and if not, then you fall outside the Jewish community. But Judaism isn't about dogma, necessarily. It's not about having to believe certain things. In fact, it often surprises people when they ask questions about Judaism, and I say that's a great question. And then pause and I say, what's the answer? And I'll realize they're actually looking for an answer as opposed to appreciating the question. Because Judaism is not found necessarily in the answer. Judaism is in the question. Jews, as Yisrael, as the people who struggle with God, we ask questions. Sometimes we ask questions that are difficult, that are painful. Why do we see certain things happen in the world? Why is there not justice where we had hoped for justice? Sometimes those questions change us, like the questions that we ask ourselves around the High Holy Days. Why have I behaved in this way? How might I behave differently? And sometimes the questions are questions of our text. What does this mean? What is the character doing here? Is there a hidden message behind this text? My hope this week, as we read this fascinating Torah portion, is that we continue to ask questions of ourselves, of our society, of our tradition, and of God. If Judaism is not necessarily in the answer, but if Judaism is in the question, then this Shabbat, what will your questions